Hello and welcome to Noelle Gets Mad, determining how technology works in the future. I already recorded all of this. It took me an hour. And because my screen share was set to the desktop and not the presentation, you don't get to see anything and you just hear me talk to nothing. And I went over the entire lore and history of Crazy Stick People. And yeah, so we're going to do it again. And I'm going to try to be as enthusiastic as the first time. But the one nice thing about the first time was it was me getting to see these cartoons fresh for the first time in a decade. And yeah, I can't replicate that feeling, but it's still very special to me. So these are the first PowerPoints, really, that I did in my life. But also, this was like my first hand at what I thought animation was. It was me trying to do cartooning with slides. These started, let's see, these started in my first year of junior high, and they probably went until my first year of high school when life started getting a little too busy to keep making them. The majority of the files have been corrupted. They were all saved on floppy disk and hard disk, depending on the year that they were saved. Nothing was saved on a USB. We didn't start getting USB sticks for saving stuff in my family until I was about in high school. We didn't know about that technology, or maybe it really wasn't readily available. I don't even know. I do think the use of a single USB stick would have saved all of the Crazy Stick People, but due to the technology at the time and the fact that I had no money and was just like a little teeny bopper, this is what's left. And unfortunately, a lot of the really great episodes are gone, but let's see the rough beginnings of the Crazy Stick People show. So this is not the origin of them. I lost the first ever episode, but this is episode either 2 or 3. And it was at this point that I decided to teach other people how to make cartoons and PowerPoint, and this was my first attempt at teaching that. So, the Crazy Stick People, how to make a cartoon from the pros. And so we have Yellow. And this was, you'll notice that there's a lot of me playing with their ratios and their shape and like their color and their line art, trying to figure out how to make these characters look better. But also you'll notice that whatever level of like control freak I am now, I clearly wasn't back then because I just used the standard font. And I do have a hunch though that the conversion to new PowerPoint and like aspect ratios and things like that has changed my font. I have a hunch I wasn't putting font over a character's face even back then. I don't think I was that messy. So some of these are kind of a little messed up from the conversion and the time. PowerPoint did change a lot in the last 10 years. So anyway, we got Yellow here saying, first you have to have a cool character. I don't want to brag, but I'm the greatest, smartest, most awesome, richest, cutest, strongest, hyperest. And he gets all this stuff, and then cut. And then this, there's no, there's no defending this. This is just the scariest looking slide in the world. Next, you need to have a program with slides and a program to draw, like Paint and PowerPoint. So that's what this is made in, as you can see. And we have the character Blue. I'll go into their personalities and their like origins and stuff later. Then you need a plot, like Super Ninjas, and that was very often the plot, was that Yellow and Blue could turn into ninjas. And but they called it ninjatization, or they would become ninjatized. And he goes, hey, I'm the best. Oh, these are the other characters. We got Blue, Yellow, Alien, and Genie. And Alien's real name is Green, and Genie's real name is Purple. And that's the main cast. Then you need some action words. I was very proud and excited to discover that you could animate words in PowerPoint, clearly. And then they all come at him, or no, they all run off, and then they come at him. They go, wow! ah, pow, or whatever. Yeah, bang. And I had a lot of fun in MS Paint, clearly. I am not even going to poke fun at the fact that like half of these are blurry or fuzzy or pixelated. Some of that's with age, and some of that is just stuff I hadn't learned about yet. Achoo! This, specifically the Achoo exists because one of Genie's powers is he can sneeze and it accidentally turns people into hot dogs and hamburgers. Ninja. And then, yeah, that's what's going on here, is they're just in mid-battle. Humor is very important. I'm not even going to... You're going to see a lot of spelling errors, and we're going to ignore them mostly. But also, I shouldn't say that, humor is very important, but did I have that? I don't know. Don't forget the music. Your computer, ignore that. Doesn't even need sound, just sing. And I'm like, no, I will not be singing, but I do know now what the song was. It was the can-can. So it's like a da 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 da. Which, notice in the can-can, Alien is missing his antennas. That's just little things like that I notice now. And then they say, do not forget commercials. And then there was supposed to be a commercial, but for some reason that part of the PowerPoint is gone. I don't know why. And then there's this. This was a very common thing in the first few episodes, was every episode would end in a disclaimer. So this one said, the show will not be responsible for children sitting on the computer making TV shows, or people using ninja powers, turning people into food, or sneezing out electricity. Oh, that's what it was. Alien sneezes electricity. Genie poofs people into food. I had them switched. So that's the end of that episode. I'm gonna get you through the other PowerPoints, and yeah, just really happy to share all these old slides with you guys. And we're back. So let's see. So this recording software is very strange, but anyway, this was kind of the common thing. Most episodes started with a giant "the" and then like a little animated version of the title. I would sneeze. Anyway, I guess I didn't have to sneeze. Yeah, and it would always be like, the Crazy Stick People Show. And I always liked the little wiggle wobble. That was kind of how the intro always was. So here we have Alien on the $5, or not, no, sorry, here we have Yellow on the $5 bill saying, hi, everybody. Because most episodes started with the intro slide and then a hi, everybody. You will notice here this specific firework. I don't know, for those of you who remember early PowerPoint, this was one of the pre-made slide things. Like you could just get a slide that had a firework in the corner on every one. So I just included that because I knew how to do slide themes. But it's covered on most of the slides of this. And this was the inversion of slide themes. That was another thing, is just because you picked a slide theme didn't mean you had to pick the set colors that it came with, which in this case was like red, white, and blue, and yellow. You could pick a different background and then it would like accordingly match like a different shade to each of its transition shapes and patterns and things. But this was like a non-editable shape as far as I'm concerned. Like you couldn't like select each part. It was just baked in. But anyway, there's just some old PowerPoint lore for you. This next show is... Oh, went a little fast. It was just supposed to be him going like, nerp, pop. Yeah, so then he explodes like a firework. That was Yellow. Independence Day. And now you get to see how bad my puns were in junior high. For some reason, Yellow is a news anchor in this episode. And Alien has straight antennas. We'll get into that later, but it's kind of becomes canon later that Alien always has one bent antenna that doesn't stand upright. And it's like this whole lore thing. Anyway, today is Independence Day. And Alien's like, yay! Learning something about Earth culture. And he sees his friends and they're all like, hi! And he zaps them. And then turns them into pens. And very straightforward, terrible pun. And they're just like, ah! Because they never know what his powers even do. And he's like, you are independence! And honestly, this terrible slide is so adorable to me. I would love this on a shirt. It makes no sense. It's just so cute. You are in the pen dance. Really dumb. Still making me laugh. And then here's Yellow. I'd also like this on a shirt. Just like an angry pen yelling at an alien. Anyway. It's independence, not independence. And he's just like, oh, sorry. And then he leaves. And his words leave. And then they're just stuck as pens. The end. Oh, look, brand new pens. And then you see a red hand grab them. And at the time, there's no red character. So this was supposed to be me going, ooh, foreshadowing. Not foreshortening, foreshadowing. Yeah, there's a new character coming. So anyway, now we'll jump to the next episode that I have. Happy 4th of July. And yeah, this is just weird to look at. Oh, man, there's just more and more. This show will not be responsible for aliens coming to your house and turning your kids into pens on the 4th of July or giant hands swooping them up. Alright, and welcome back. This recording software keeps freezing every time I start a new presentation. So clearly, even in the future, technology still has a billion bugs. Anyway, so here is what is now, I guess, like episode like 2 or 3 of the Crazy Stick People show. But I think in reality, this was like episode like 5. We're missing quite a few, 5 or 6. So and there's many after this we're also missing. So if there's something about lore that's missing from this episode, I'll explain it. Sorry everybody, Alien is late. We'll have to start without him. Blue and Jeannie will be so mad. And I just loved that. I was like, I thought I was so cool. The Crazy Stick People show. So they were kind of the Brady Bunch, and in one of their first episodes, they did the whole Brady Bunch song. So this is the abbreviated version where it's just like, here's a story about all the characters except Alien, or but Alien, or whatever. But Alien would go right there. And in the original intro, there was like this thing where like it pretty much explained the whole plot of how each of the characters worked. Where like Yellow was the main character and the ever optimist, and Blue was the secondary character that wanted to be the main character. And he's not the forever pessimist, but he does have like kind of rotten luck. And he does have like a determined edge about him to always like try to do what Yellow does ×2, but they're best friends. So it's like a best friends who are rivals, but Yellow doesn't know they are rivals. Like that's their dynamic. Genie, also known as Purple, he's just their superpowered best friend. He's a lot more cynical than both of them, but he's also a lot more just like confident with himself and like a little bit like toned down personality wise. Like he's there, he'll speak up if he doesn't like something, but for the most part he's not competing to be main character. He's like doesn't even act like he's on a show, whereas these two are constantly acting like they're on a show. And then Alien is just this alien that crash landed in their neighborhood, and then they just adopted him as a best friend as well. And Alien's mom also lives in the town, so it's not like these people are harboring like an alien. The alien like literally moves into their town and starts going to their school and stuff like that. But anyway, that's kind of the dynamic. Anyway, so then their little Brady Bunch cubes gets kidnapped by this towing lift thing, and these two characters. They get scooted away. And tied up. Jeannie gets put in a cage. And then the hi everybody gets done by Orange and Red instead. And they're like, hi everybody. Yes, we have taken over the Crazy Stick People show. Now we can do all the stuff they used to do. And this is Red and Orange. They're twins. And they're just completely hell-bent on taking over the world or taking over whatever. In this case, taking over the Crazy Stick People show. So they do all the things that are from previous episodes that are lost. So they get turned into ninjas. They do this, this is an exact screen capture of the original first clip ever of the Crazy Stick People. And I just changed yellow and blue to be red and orange. The original plot was that it was like a weird advertisement for like an action movie, and Blue was like on the edge of the cliff, and Yellow was like, "Don't jump off the cliff," and Blue was like, "Cowabunga," and he leaps off the cliff, and Yellow's like, "No," and then he leaps off the cliff, and they go into this. It's supposed to be this big action scene, and like with parachutes and fighter pilots and whatever, and very like James Bond, except he says cowabunga, so it was kind of also some TMNT was in there too. But anyway, that is lost to time. But this is a single shot of what part of it and what it looked like. It was pretty crude, even though I'm making it out to be like it was this big thing. Here's red and orange mimicking the conga line we saw from the previous episode. Here's them being turned into food, which was something Jeannie was doing in an episode previously. Here's the Independence episode, if it was red and orange. The pixels are terrible because they're stretched and copied and recolored, and back then some of their line art was like a darker shade of their original line art, so I couldn't color shift the green away, and I guess I just didn't have the energy to just redraw this entirely. I learned a lot. Wow, I said this was 10 years ago. This was 20 years ago because this was 2004. This was 20 years ago. My gosh. Anyway, wow, that was fun. And then aliens like stick him up, and he's got these crazy sci-fi alien guns, and he shoots them, and then we don't know what happens to them. Yay! This will make up for me being late. But it turned out they were growing guns, and here's like the cutest little shrunken alien in the world. And he's just like, oh no. I just love this little back and forth. Oh no. Anyway. Wow, now you could really say this show is big. You know, I had like 5 people watching the Crazy Stick People show, and here I am thinking, it's the biggest thing in my life. Let's have some fun. And then they immediately just go step on buildings because that's kind of, you know. And then here's Alien Without Antennas. I don't know if it's something I forgot or if at the time it was just canon that the antennas would disappear if he was in a spaceship. Maybe they'd scoot it behind his head. I don't think nowadays I'd draw it like that. I'd draw the antennas bent backwards or something, or I'd make little holes that the antennas would pop out of. But anyway. He shoots him with X-ray vision or laser vision or catch-up vision. I don't know. Where did you get laser vision? On eBay. A very, very 2000s joke. Back when eBay was something people were talking about on the daily. There was like a whole eBay commercial song where like, who was it? Captain Kirk. His name is lost to me at the moment, but he sang the whole eBay song. But anyway. Okay, time for revenge. So he just like randomly can grow for no reason. Oh, also, I guess this is really important and I didn't notice it. Alien has 4 arms. And the majority of the time he's drawn like a regular Crazy Stick person with 2 arms because it's less messy. Like, especially with this whole like hands on hips thing. There's just a lot of like me not noticing continuity stuff. And then he grows really big and he's like, stop or else. And they're like, or else what? Like, or else he'll step on you. But they're pretty cocky. He's like, this, behold the power of cartoons. And he beats them up, ties them up, and then they're back, and they're just like really pixely and weird. And I honestly think that this had to have been cleaner 20 years ago. I think that this file being saved and exported, and I don't know, part of me just feels like I know old me, and I know it wasn't the cleanest thing, but I wouldn't have gotten away with like Yellow not having a neck but I don't know, maybe I would, who knows. Anyway, they say sorry, and clearly I loved a good gradient in junior high. And then they're just immediately like, want to be in the group? Because you were crazy and weird, and that's the only requirements to being in the group is being crazy, weird, and a young teenager. So then they're happy and they join the group. And everyone in this group is insane, so clearly they're cool with their kidnapper evil, crazy rivals just joining them, and it's great. But they're just like, I like it here. Me too. And yeah, so that they become part of the group now. That's that. This show will not be responsible for people growing as big as a building or being taken over by arch enemies. Also, lack of funding has caused us to start using subliminal messages again. So if you're craving seafood, it's okay. Subliminal messages was like the popular topic of the early 2000s in my junior high. I don't know why. There was like a whole presentation on it that I had to do. A few people had to do it in my innovative presentations class. Like, we had to figure out what they were, how they were in marketing and TV show. It was like, I don't know, early days of like conspiracy theory stuff. But yeah, so that's why that got in there. Alright, on to the next one. Alright, it has been recording and it didn't tell me. This next one is, I think, a half episode. I don't know what happened to the other half of it. Like I said before, a lot of this stuff didn't survive the transfers from the original computer they were on to the computer after that to the computer after that. I think that these have jumped in the last 20 years to 4 different computers with 4 completely different like operating system situations and versions of PowerPoint, and like every time you open them in a new version of PowerPoint, you lose stuff. Things that PowerPoint didn't really do anymore, or it did differently. So you're going to notice a lot of these are either missing something or there's just something off. But anyway, this one is called The Crazy Stick People Show. School edition. Here we have yellow, ever pleasant and happy. It's 6 a.m., a time that I hate waking up at. His alarm is a-ringing, and he's very happy. I thought he was going to be pissed, but no. He's very happy because he's Mr. Optimism. So he goes and runs to wake up all of his friends, who do not all live in the same house in a Powerpuff Girl striped bed. I think I was just referencing Powerpuff Girls, but like they all have their own families and homes they live at. But for the sake of the show, because I think a lot of their lives is this like, we get into it in later episodes, a lot of them are lost, but there's this like duality of like their fake life and their show life. So this would have you thinking they all live together and they're like family or brothers or something, but in reality, like, this is implied to be a set. But anyway, I only know that because I remember making the show. And I remember the episodes that came in the in-between. But anyway, time for school! And then they all hide from him. And now he's angry. And then we have this beautiful, another thing I love on a shirt. This is a very common image in the Crazy Stick People, was bunch of tinies and then a big-headed scream person. And they all kind of get their turn to do that in different episodes. I don't know if I got this from someone else or if I invented it for myself, but anyway, this was a special one because Yellow is supposed to be the character who's never upset. So he screams, "Get up!" And then he's like, "See you on the bus!" And he's just happy and he leaves, but then the bus leaves without them. And, but Alien gets beamed up by, I don't know, he just gets beamed up, so he's set. Genie just poofs, so he's set. They just go to school magically. And Blue, who's a normal average Joe guy, just screams, and that's it. Hi, everyone but Blue is already in class. Let's go. They just go to class, and then he says, I better hurry. And then the rest of the episode is missing. So that's that. And I'm a little bummed because I don't remember what happens. Alright, in this next episode you can see I was really learning a lot and getting excited about gradients in PowerPoint. You can kind of see me learning PowerPoint as I go as I was making these. So here we go. The Crazy Stick People Show. And a blinding amount of gradients. Hi everybody. So for like this start screen, you get this weird little alien creature that you've never seen before. And that was foreshadowing. Anyway, Yellow goes up to Red and Orange, who are now the group's designated mad scientists. And also, I can't really tell you if there was episodes in between any of these episodes that were the missing ones. I can kind of give you a list of what was missing, though. Anyway, he says, "Hi, do you want to go hang out?" "No, we're busy with another plot to take over the world." "Oh, okay, good luck." And then he rubs the genie lamp, and Genie goes poof and appears and screams at him. And I don't remember what all of this says. It's something about the, like, how many times I tell you I'm not the same person as Lad, and you can't rub a lamp, and I just grant you wishes, and blah, 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 blah. I have 50 messages on my phone. Do you know how hard it is to delete even that, or delete even that with magic, or something like that? Anyway, I don't remember the whole spiel, but I think when I used to read this slide when I first made it, I just go, like, inconceivable jargon. And then, sorry, I thought you were someone else. What's up? And then Yellow was like, "Do you want to hang out?" And he's like, "I'm busy." And it's just like, I didn't need to explain. He's just busy. "Do you want to hang out?" And Alien's like, "Let me go check the dictionary." Hang out, to project downwards. To suspend, for public display. Also check slang dictionary. Hang out, a frequently visited place. And he just gets thoroughly confused and dies and is dead. and they just leave that at that. Because a lot of his plot was he doesn't know what anyone's ever talking about. And Yellow asks Blue, "Please play with me. I gotta go. You're scaring me." And so he just leaves. So then we have Yellow conveniently saying, "I'm so lonely," in front of a pet shop. It's very clearly where we're going next. Also, the doorknob behind his neck gives him 3 necks. Because I just didn't know about good alignment and stuff in comics. Anyway, conveniently, each of these pets is designated with a different color, specifically in the order that the crazy stick people are usually in their Brady Bunch cubes. What are the chances? They look so familiar. And the cat meows at him. And he therefore becomes a cat person. And because it's the crazy stick people, they're not like fully drawn out animals. They just have to be like a circle with appendages. I'll call you Lemon. This is a fact I do not remember, that each of the animals had a color name. Yeah, so I don't remember any of them. And then the cat covers him in yarn, and the Blue runs over and is like, "Oh, hey, what's that?" Yarn? No, the other thing. A pet. And we have, again, a copy-pasted, color-changed slide of pixelated terribleness. It says, "Can the rest of the group and I have one?" Wait, can the rest of the group and the I have one? Okay. And then they each have a pet that is never shown again. And is only for this episode. And, yeah. The end. And then, ooh, it's just, I worked hard on that, clearly. Oh, I must have had fun with that. That wasn't exiting. That wasn't exciting. We didn't even get to see Red and I rule the world. And now a mini show from Orange. In 5 seconds, the laser will toast the planet, causing everyone to beg for mercy from us. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And then toast falls from the sky. And then they're covered in toast that looks like giant mushrooms. This isn't what I meant by toast. To order a pet from Noel's Crazy Stick Pets shop, call the number below, 247. This is not, wait, there is no such number. Nice. All right, I think there's only one more. Let me check. All right, here we go. This is a big time jump, and there's a bunch of episodes missing, but this is the high school episode. And I'm going to disclaimer it right off the bat. There's an animation glitch at the beginning. But here we go. Yellow and Blue, and they're really tiny, and they're gasping and looking up, and then they turn around, and they look up, and Now notice that it goes fast and stops over and over again. It's a Crazy Stick People show. And then it says at the very top, at high school. Notice that the text speed was different than the brick speed. Originally, many years ago with the original version of PowerPoint that I had, I was able to link all those images together, top to bottom, and it was a seamless slide all the way up to the top with the letters attached. So it wouldn't stop and then the letters come down. It was almost like the letters were painted on the wall. And to some degree, it made those middle text to flash by easier to read. This is just kind of a little sickening to watch, but we'll look at it again so you see. Also, one more thing to note. They have red all around them. I do believe the scale has shifted somehow. I think it's the aspect ratio of the slide, because I think that they were encapsulated entirely in a brick, just so that it would look better. But I don't know. I can't really remember 20 years ago that well. But anyway, if you look at this again, I'm pretty sure it was a little less nauseating. But yeah, that says a Crazy Stick People show. And then, yeah, and the last one says at high school. I was very proud of my advancements in animating when I made this, but clearly they didn't last the test of time. Next, you're going to see another glitch where the background was supposed to stretch into it and turn. So you weren't going to see this box disappear. You were just going to see yellow shrink. But PowerPoint didn't save that onto my slide. So you're just going to see yellow and this green around him shrink instead, which is a little frustrating. So it's supposed to look like you're zooming away from him on land. Anyway, so he screams. Oh yeah, because it says at high school. So he immediately goes, high school, blah. I just alerted my dog. Anyway, so now there's this little blip, and these two aliens on this very small planet that could only house 2 aliens are like, it sounds like summer. Ignore that. It sounds like summer just ended on the planet Earth. I'm gonna spell just as Gust the majority of this episode, if I recall. That's just, I didn't know. Yeah, too bad our eternal summer is coming to an end for a few days as well. And then she goes, wow, an echo. Anyway, so then we skip ahead. Now it's 5:30, and this is a very familiar scene. Yellow in a bed, an alarm going off, and he's going to be happy to get up. I think that's what I was going for with this. So anyway, but it's 5:30. It's even earlier. And the alarm goes off, meh, 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 and Yellow is pissed, and the alarm runs away. And this is the first I think anyone had ever seen Yellow angry. So now they're all tired and at the bus stop. Jeannie's still asleep. The sun didn't even rise yet, and we're outside waiting for the bus. I'm too tired to respond to your comment with a funny comment. I didn't even have time to straighten my antennas, and I have gym first hour. I don't know. I guess you just... gym first hour, I remember having that. That's a nightmare. You're just too tired to already be warmed up for the day. And you don't want to be surrounded by sweaty high school students to start your day and then be one for the rest of the day. Not a great mix. But anyway. So they're there looking up at the school again. Wow, that's a tall school. Hurry, we're going to be late. And it's a dual-toned bubble to imply that they're both somehow talking simultaneous. Anyway, this is the map of the school, which is kind of how I felt like my junior high looked. And here each of them are randomly in it. Well, I'm lost. How did I even get in? Oh, also, you might notice they all have the same voice, because it's me. And they're just a bunch of guys, except Orange, who's a girl. And I just give them all the same voice. I did one day want them all to be voice acted, but it never, it didn't come to be. Anyway. None of the hallways lead to classrooms. This reminds me of some kind of TV show. I'm going to say right here and now, Survivor came out. Either the year before this came out or it was coming out during this. So Survivor was very popular and on everyone's minds. So I'm very specifically referring to Survivor, and there'll be more of that in the episode. Echo! Ah! I heard an echo. Was that me? Who am I? Ah. 6 students trapped in a school. Who will survive and make it to class? Stay tuned! No, seriously, how did I get in? Echo! Still lost! The walls are shrinking on me. Ah! Who's that? It's day 1 and everyone's favorite. Orange is winning. So they all reconvened, and Blue has been through an existential crisis. We're back where we started. I've been here for days, all alone, all alone. Blue, it's only been 10 minutes. Calm down. While we're running around aimlessly, I found a map, and it's not very complicated. Look! Now, I'm really kind of bummed that the original recording of me seeing this has been lost. Just like the original episode of The Crazy Stick People, you don't get to see my initial reaction to seeing the map to my high school is what I used for the map to their high school. And at the time, this was scary to look at. I was like, how am I ever going to find anything? But looking at it now, and having gone there for 4 years, and also just having been in more complicated buildings, I'm like, this is a great floor plan. Just like a bunch of consecutive circles around a main circle, like all the math and science is here, all the English history is here, all the tech ed and art is here, language classes and some extra junk over here. I think yearbook was there. And then gym, like easy. The only thing that's frustrating about this map is that like any straight and easy path you couldn't take. Like you couldn't go through here, I don't think. You couldn't go through here. Like you had to, like if you see a line that's like semi-broken, we couldn't pass through it. We could only go through completely unbroken lines. Or you know what I mean, completely broken lines. So like I had a physics class right here, and then like my buses were I think like out here, and it was just like the hardest path of travel, and I'd miss getting on my bus every day to go home. So I started running through this little hallway to like break through, and like I would just break through as many sheets as I could to get to that bus. And I remember they put a sign on this door that said no student or anyone can ever open this door to pass through ever. And it was just a hallway that led to like a tech room, and there was no reason to not use it except I think they were afraid someone would steal a computer maybe, but then they could have just locked it. So I put a post-it note under their sign that said, why? And then I would just every day break through that hallway and run to my bus. Because it saved me time and made, you know, my life easier. Anyway, that's my actual high school. Yeah, thanks. This is so much less complicated than running aimlessly. I know, isn't it? To be fair, all the characters are very art-minded, and orange and red are very math-minded. So to them, this actually would make perfect sense upon first seeing it. Sarcasm certainly never gets past you. No, sit. Let's just try to go to lunch. Anyway, here they all are with their hamburgers. Genie is extra happy because his power is literally to turn people into fast food because he loves fast food. Blue is still in a sense of existential dread. And Alien, for some reason, doesn't have food. And I don't know if it's because at the time he ate through photosynthesis. I don't really know. Or he already ate his hamburger. I don't know. And then this is where you meet everyone's alter ego enemy. These are the seniors. So anyway, what do you think you're doing? Eating lunch. We know that, but you're doing it at our table. We got here first, so actually it's our table. No, actually, we're seniors, so we got 3 years before you did. I would move if I were you. Well, you're not me. Orange, don't push it. We're not moving because you're just a bunch of dumb bullies. Right, gang? The amount of gusts in this episode is so many. And then they all run away. I will mention So you might have noticed that this character didn't speak at all. She's actually mute, and all of her talking is done through emoting, dancing, sign language, though they just have circles for hands, so it gets to be very complicated. But her character was actually really fun to think through how she would convey complicated thought. I actually really love her. So anyway, going back for a second, this this is their backs. That's why they don't have eyes, just in case you didn't get that. But this is not their parallels in the right order, and I think I can get to that later. But this is peach and cyan and gray, maroon, lime, and army. I think that one was army green. Peach was yellow's altar. Anyway, I'll get into that in a minute. Right. Smart gang. And then they beat up Orange. Which I think I kind of got rid of a lot of actual physical violence in later episodes, but like it was kind of a bit more common early on. Sorry we deserted you. Are you okay? What, this? Oh, I'm fine. You should see what I did to them. And so then they're like super beat up. Well, at least they know what it's like to be bullied. They will stop being bullies to other people. Actually, most bullies, after being bullied, they become even worse bullies. And then they usually come after the people who bullied them and squish them into a pulp for the rest of the year. Well, that's just great. Anyway, I don't really know what that PSA was about or why it was in the episode, but clearly I thought that was important. Well, that was terrible. Only 4 more years minus today and all of the holidays. How many seconds is that? I'm sure it'll get better tomorrow, or extremely worse. Probably the second one. That was great. I can't wait till tomorrow. Nothing bad happened to Orange, apparently. The end. And so our young heroes ride into the distance. Who knows what adventures will cross their path. Again, there and there. That's fine. Orange, this isn't a TV show. Stay tuned for next week when Red gets kicked off the island. I'm not going to get kicked off the island because there is no island. Then they drive away. And that's that. And that's the last saved episode of the Crazy Stick People. The rest are corrupted and lost to time, unfortunately. Unless I can ever get somebody to take all my old floppy disks and hard disks and try to dissect the data. But the new versions of PowerPoint don't support a lot of that old stuff. But some of the absolute best episodes, I feel like, are the ones that got lost, unfortunately. But thank you for watching these ones. These are kind of some of the earlier ones, and yeah, I'm just kind of happy to get to see them again. I think they're pretty fun. Hey, this isn't an episode, this is just a compilation of various pieces of art that I had done for the Crazy Stick People that I just happen to have on file. And I think in this little segment I'm going to mention some of the episodes that are kind of lost to time. So here we have a character. This character kind of didn't have a name. It was like sometimes called like the creators or the artists or the design team. It was implied that it was sometimes one person and sometimes it was like a hive mind. This is pretty much the character that eventually embodied like me intervening in the plot and rewriting scripts if necessary. Because there's definitely an episode where like nothing is the solution to the problem. Like I think the Crazy Stick People all get brainwashed and turn into zombies or something. I think it's on the Valentine's Day episode. I can't remember. And they don't know what to do, so eventually when they run out of options and everyone's like a zombie except for like one guy, he decides to go talk to the writers of the show to see if maybe they can just write a solution in. Or just change the plot entirely. And in that episode, he actually goes to the 3D world and goes into my actual house, and there's like a nerdy old picture of me in my parents' living room at the computer making the show that turns around and looks at him and gives him advice or something. I think at first it's something even more comical, like it's like a vampire or something, and then it's actually me, or I don't know, something. But regardless, even though I did find it funny to do that, over time I just preferred the idea of like a character that represented me just looking like one of the crazy stick people. But again, I didn't want to be a character. I wanted to just exist at random short intervals and like, for when plot had no help. So anyway, this was kind of the just a random logo. The character didn't always have like a pencil and like grayscale dots flying around his head. This was just like a random logo. And here's like, I've also noticed both of these kind of look a little cleaner. This one especially. This was when I finally started learning Photoshop in high school, and I was like, oh, this is the future. No more MS Paint. Unfortunately, my MS Paint had drastically changed too. Somewhere in the late 2000s, early 2010s, MS Paint kind of stopped existing, and the new version of it was a bit more like beginner Photoshop, and it stopped being good for pixel art. And people had to use other programs to do pixel art, which was rather frustrating because some of us like doing pixel art, but Photoshop isn't exactly good for pixel art because if you zoom down to the microscopic pixels, I never really did find a way to negate this, but because photos try not to be so jagged and pixelated and try to have a bit more blend to them, if you color in a single box, like a single pixel black, the boxes around it will turn gray, so as nothing is seamlessly sharp. So I was a little bit excited to adopt it, but at the same time knew that it meant I couldn't do pixel art anymore. It was a little frustrating. But anyway, this was just like a random graphic design that I didn't finish of the crazy stick people on the left and their alternate enemies, the wacky line people on the right. So Peach, and I don't remember if Peach had another name, but he was Yellow's opposite. So Yellow kind of embodied, I kind of explained this earlier and I lost the recording, so I'm going to try to remember everything I said. But anyway, Yellow was like the embodiment of like optimism and determination, and like Peach on the other hand was just like, he usually has a baseball cap too, but anyway, he was always like punk, rival, tough guy. He was one of those short Napoleon complex, angry trope kind of characters. And he leads the team. Um, Blue isn't quite as optimistic as Yellow. He's more of like a realist, or at least he thinks he is. Not quite a pessimist. So not actually quite an opposite to Yellow. He's just kind of a failed main character is kind of the joke. Is like everything Blue does isn't main character-y enough. His luck just doesn't hit right. His attitude doesn't hit right. But he works double as hard as Yellow constantly. And they're best friends. It's kind of like best friends who are rivals, but Yellow doesn't know they're rivals. And even if he did know, he doesn't really care because he knows that Blue is having fun. And Yellow's like main goal is that as long as people are having fun, like his job is done, kind of thing. Um, Even like with this rivalship with this other group, it's a bit more dangerous. You saw in a previous episode, like they beat up Orange, but over time it becomes like, oh, our rivalry is actual, just fun. Now I approve of it, kind of thing. And it's so sad that that episode's gone because there's an episode where all the crazy stick people get superpowers, and so all of their rivals just by coincidence also have to get superpowers, and they have like a whole superhero battle and everything, and against their opposite. And I'll get into what the powers were later, and I think in the end they just all kind of are like, well, that was great. So, like, carry on. I think they lose the powers, but they enjoy to continue the rivalry. So okay, going through. We already kind of talked about Genie and his powers and his personality, and Alien and his Alien's name is also Green. He's just kind of like the goofy, lost kind of character, a little shy. And then Red and Orange are like the conniving, they often have the Pixar eyebrow, where it's like the one eye high in the air and the other one like in a judgmental stare. They're always up to something and always excited to see chaos emerge. Then we have Peach's right-hand man, and his eye is missing because clearly this file wasn't done. This is Cyan. He was always the flirty one. He does have an eye. He he's overly flirty and constantly getting into trouble for being just kind of just cocky and rude to everybody. And but not, I wouldn't say in a derogatory way. He's just got an ego to the sky, and he talks to everybody like, "Hey, yeah, life's great. Yeah, hey." But like he does that to everyone. Um Lime was just, if Orange drank energy drinks, Lime is just, it's if energy drinks were a personality trait. She's just hyperactive, crazy, and constantly shaking. Army is drawn incorrectly. He has glasses, and that's probably why he was missing an eye. I was probably going to add in the glasses. That's actually probably why he's missing an eye too, is I was probably going to do the winky eye. Um, Army, I can't remember what his personality was. I think he might just be like, if Red and Orange are super smart in like a mad scientist way, I think that Army Green was like super smart in like, I don't know, like a historic kind of way, like, or in like a literature, that kind of thing. I think he was like the fact guy, but then I think I wanted to change that because I didn't want the glasses guy to be the fact guy. I don't remember what he ended up being, but I try to remember what his superpowers were too. Anyway, and then Maroon was mute, and I think I mentioned that earlier, that she spoke in gestures and sign language, and she was just a blast to write. Gray was, Gray's kind of important because it was always kind of implied that blue is the opposite of yellow, but blue is not the opposite of yellow. Gray is the opposite of yellow. She is the sad to his happy, the pessimism to his optimism. Which is why she's the alter to blue, because she's being the opposite of yellow correctly, but she's not the leader of the group, and the leader of the group had to be yellow's opposite, so it's kind of a weird, complex setup of rivalship here. Like, she's his rival because she rivals yellow correctly, and he was supposed to be yellow's rival before the Wacky Line people existed. This is all of the characters, excluding the pets. One second. Yep, this is all the characters excluding the pets in like a never-ending grid pattern that I used to use as my desktop background, but I kind of stopped doing that because it's hard to look at. It's hard to put apps in front of it too. But here's the reduced version, and I can just go through what all the characters are here. So I already said who yellow is, and blue, and alien, which this image is really great because it shows the final design for the characters. This is their ratios and proportions of their eyes and their heads. Obviously the full body isn't in here, so you can't see how that ratio changed, but this was like, I finally was like, this design is correct. I like the line weights and whatever. Anyway, this is Rose. She is Jeannie's little sister, so she is also a genie. Their entire family is shades of pinks and purples. So yeah, Jeannie's name is Purple and her name is Rose. This is Pink. She was supposed to be like, there's the character Amy Rose in Sonic, who's always chasing Sonic around and wants to be his love interest. That's what Amy Rose was, or that's what Pink was to Yellow. And then Blue is actually in love with Pink, so that's their little love triangle silliness, is Pink loves Yellow and Blue loves Pink. But Blue only loves Pink because he sees that if he was the main character and he had a main character love interest that was mad over him, that he would truly rule the show. I don't know if he actually loves her because she's cute. I think it is because he's got this perfect image of the crazy stick people in his own head. And Yellow is just a complete, like, oblivious guy. he's He's thinking about the show. He's thinking about making his friends happy. He's not really concerned about whatever's going on with Pink. Pink's best friend Violet is in the corner here. And Violet and Jeannie actually date for a while. And she is also a genie, I think, if I recall. Because there was a lot of genies in the show, but clearly there aren't any more on this board because none of them really like made the cut as like reoccurring character. But yeah, I don't know if they stayed together. I think they did, and it just kind of was like a thing. It was just like a plot thing that wasn't really talked about. This is the Alien FBI. I don't remember if there's another name for it. It was UFO FBI, but I don't remember if they had another name. They come to Earth to abduct Alien and take him back to the home planet. And that's the plot of the first movie, which you're going to see a picture of the poster in a minute. So that we got like the good cop, bad cop kind of deal. That's who these two guys were. And then you have like Goofy Cop. So great in interrogations. You got good cop, bad cop, goofy cop. But bad cop was kind of their leader. Hey Quinn, stop barking. Alright, one moment. Carrying on. You already met the creator character. There's Maroon, so you can see she doesn't have a mouth. And Peach has a hat. You can actually see Army with his glasses down here in the corner. You can see Cyan with his winky face, Gray with her droopy eyes, and Lime with her hyperactive face. So the thing with the Crazy Stick People, the main group, is that all of them are almost the exact same face, different colors. That was kind of, except for Alien, but that was kind of the goal, was they all have different personalities, but the personalities aren't spelled out physically. But with the Wacky Line People, it was very bluntly, each of them had to have something different about their face to like differentiate them, because they were kind of coming to their own at the end of high school and trying to like show their personalities more. Not to say that kids don't have personalities in junior high, but like the Wacky Line People were supposed to be like, we're in high school and we're cool and we're figuring ourselves out and like, here I am, deal with it kind of thing. So that's why they each physically have to look like a Crazy Stick person, but modified. You'll also notice that Orange has eyelashes. She seldomly does, because I didn't think it was necessary to give her eyelashes to make her a girl. So it was just kind of like, she's a girl, and if people catch on, that's cool. If they don't, it also doesn't matter, because all of them have the same voice, because I did all the voices. And I don't really remember if I gave them each different voices, to be honest. Alright, this is Olive. So in the second movie, and I will say the first and second movie are lost to time. Anyway, but in the second movie, one of Yellow's parents, I think it's his mom, and Blue's dad, because both of them have single parents. Their parents get together, get married, they become stepbrothers, and they have a younger sister named Olive. And so Olive becomes the leader of the next generation of Crazy Stick People. And the group includes Alien's sister, who I believe her colors get changed, and she becomes a teal color, and I think her name is Teal. I could be wrong. She might be mint or seafoam, but I don't remember. And there's Periwinkle. He's a ghost. They usually call him Ghost. That's why his line art is different color than everyone else's, because he's a ghost. This designates see-through. Brown, who has a monocle, and I don't know his personality at all. I don't remember Brown, because I never wrote an episode of the Next Gen Crazy Stick People. I just had them lined up and ready. Who else is there? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, Rose was part of the Next Gen Crazy Stick People, even though she was pre-mentioned in early episodes of the Crazy Stick People when you go to Jeannie's house, because he doesn't actually live in the lamp. That's like his bedroom. But when you go to his house, you get to meet Rose and some of his other sisters. His family is kind of like the Weasleys in Harry Potter. They were always like adventuring and going to different countries and stuff and taking family photos, and there was just a lot of them. But I don't remember all of their names. It was just many different shades of purple and pink. Am I forgetting any characters from that group? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4. Who am I forgetting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I might be forgetting somebody. It'll be in the next picture, so I'll know for sure. And then lastly, we have Gold and Silver. They're not part of any group. They have zero affiliation. They are just pirates with different eye patches. And they're not in any episode of the Crazy Stick People. They were some standby characters that were going to fight the ninjas. Because everybody can turn into a ninja. That's kind of a rule in the Crazy Stick People, is anybody can be ninjatized. Also, I just noticed that Red has, like, light in his eyes. Is that in all of these? Why is Red so, like, happy to be alive and, like, nobody else has light in their eyes? It's weird. Anyway. And this is the joint movie poster. So if you cut it diagonally, you get movie number 1 on the left and movie number 2 on the right. So the plot of movie number 1, and I'm so mad this episode is gone. There's so many good episodes that are missing. If I can name them all, there's the Valentine's Day episode, movie number 1, movie number 2, Yellow riding a roller coaster, which was just an episode where he rides a roller coaster. Episode where they get superpowers. There's a few others. The episode where they go to Georgia for some reason. It's because my mom went to Georgia, and so they all went to Georgia to figure out what Georgia was. And then when my mom got back from Georgia, she'd get to see all the cool stuff that she did in Georgia, but the Crazy Stick People did it. But then I found out that, like, you don't go do all the cool things in a state just because you're visiting the state. Oh, there's a bunch of other episodes I'm forgetting. Anyway, so in the movie, Alien gets abducted by aliens. Oh, another episode that's missing is the prequel. So the prequel came out before the movies, and it was the origin of how Alien joined the friend group. Him and his mom were flying their spaceship close to Earth. It's not said in the episode that they were, or maybe it is, that they're running from something. And they crash land on Earth. He bends his antenna. And then the community is scared at first, and then they accept them, and then they live there, and he joins the Crazy Stick People, and they're all like little kids, and it like starts like him, Yellow, Blue, and Genie all become. I don't even think Genie was there yet. I'm not sure. No, he had to have been. So yeah, it was just the 4 of them. So in the movie, this group of aliens comes, Alien FBI, UFO FBI, and they abduct Alien and vanish. And the only person who sees it, I think, is Yellow. So Yellow goes to Red and says, do you have a way that we could find Alien? And like Red has like this special computer that can communicate with aliens, spaceships or something. And he calls out a signal and kind of just hears a distress signal back from Alien. And so then they jump in Red's Jaguar, which this is a very, very crude drawing of Red's Jaguar. But in the actual movie, it's an actual picture of a Jaguar that's cut out that they ride in. And they ride around in like a red Jaguar. And it sprouts wings and morphs into a Jaguar fighter jet, which is an actual thing. That isn't clearly related to a Jaguar. It could turn into anything that was called Jaguar. And so it could also turn into a big cat. But anyway, it was just like a mecha transformer that Red had been working on. So they jump into it, and they fly into outer space, and they are chasing the spaceship through space. And the reason I picked a Jaguar is because I asked my dad, what's a really cool sports car? And that's what he said, so that's what I picked. And if I ever recover the movie, you'll get to see it because I thought it was awesome. But anyway, oh, and the car is on fire, but it's only because it's moving really fast in space, and that makes sense. But it transforms into a spaceship and flies away. And on top of that, so then Orange figures out that the car is gone, and Red is gone, and Yellow is gone, and Orange kind of has a crush on Yellow, or vice versa. There's something going on there. And so then she has to go figure out how to get. She doesn't know why they just flew off in a Jaguar into space. and she doesn't know the alien's been abducted. So now she's on a hunt mission to hunt them down, and they're on a hunt mission to hunt him down. And she's joined by Pink, Maroon, who is in love with Alien, and that's something that happens during the superpower or superhero episode. They kind of fall in love. And then so Orange, Pink, and Maroon don't know how to proceed, so they call on plot help. And so then they have the creator come, who has the mouse and the pencil, and can pretty much write them convenient plot passageways to get to wherever they need to go. So, and the end result is going to the planet Saturnia, which, as you can see right here, it's this weird like half sun, half moon Saturn planet. It has everything going for it, but it's all made of technology. None of this is actually a sun or a moon it's just all tech. And I won't get into more of what happens with that, but they have to go figure out what happened to Alien. I mean, long story short, Alien is actually the heir to the throne, but he's a complete nincompoop. He's just so crazy and weird, because he's a crazy stick person, you know? Even before he was adopted into the group, it's just who he is. So they knew from an early age that he could not take over as leader of Saturnia without bringing the entire planet into craziness. So there was kind of like talk being told of getting rid of the prince in some way or another. So his mom flew him off the planet. And so now the planet is being run by his sister, Turquoise, who is just as crazy as her brother, but they had no options left. Also note that this says 2010 on it. So this is 6 years after the first episode of Crazy Stick People came out. And as of today, so this is 2004 there. Right. Because 2010 is when this movie came out, and I was speculating 2004. No, wait, what is that then? Oh, no, 2000, sorry, I thought that said 2014. No, I'm confusing myself. 2004 is the origin of the Crazy Stick People, and 2010 is when these came out. I think that's what's going on. I don't know why Olive is wearing a pin that says 2004 on it, other than that, because she was definitely born in 2010, but whatever. So yeah, Alien Sister's crazy, and the only thing she knows about Earth culture has come from old satellite transmissions of Earth, so she's actually like a Earth historian compared to her brother who knows nothing, but she only knows things about like the 60s and the 70s, so she's kind of like this hippie, like she talks a little strange. Her English accent is very psychedelia. See, she's a little silly, but she decides to send a mission to abduct her brother to help her rule the planet. And you know, they button him up, they put a little bow on his antenna so it stands straight, and they try to get him ready to rule. And it becomes very clear that the two of them aren't really fit, and the plot just, it does what it's gonna do. And so the plot of the second movie was, as I said, Blue and Yellow's parents get married and have a little baby, and her name's Olive, and she eventually grows up to be the leader of the next gen Crazy Stick People, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instead of 6. So I think it's maybe implied that either Orange is like their mentor, or that like the writer becomes part of the group to help them along, or something along those lines. Either that, or there was just room to create another character. But yeah, that's that. If I ever find any of that old stuff, or if any of it's ever, I don't know, fixed, it's all kind of corrupt. But this is all that's kind of remaining. I'm sure I've forgotten some things to include. But yeah, this was the Crazy Stick People show. And it came a long way. But yeah. Oh, and we're back. Okay, yeah, sorry. It didn't seem to be recording. So this is the last thing I have. Yeah, as you can see, everything looks very smooth and also scribbly. So there's kind of two things going on at once here. Crazy Stick People is always done in like pixelated MS Paint, PowerPoint. And then many, many years went by, they didn't make any, and I just thought out of the blue, some people were saying they really missed it and wondered what, if I was ever going to make one again and stuff like that. And it meant a lot to me. And so at the time, I'd gotten pretty proficient in PowerPoint and Photoshop, and I was like, I'm going to take, oh, and also MS Paint kind of stopped existing. I think it's back now, but they've really made it not a pixel art program anymore. As far as I could tell, it's mimicking a Photoshop. But more bare bones. But anyway, it just didn't do what I wanted to do anymore. It didn't have the look I wanted either. So the only thing I could think of was, use Photoshop, bring it into the next decade, and also do all the animations instead of in PowerPoint in an actual movie making software. Like at the time I had iMovie, and I think now I have something called Shortcut. But anyway, back then, I was going to use iMovie, and I was going to have my friends record all the voices. And I was going to officially designate different people to different characters. And I don't think I was only going to do it once, but it was going to kind of show what I guess I always wished the show would end up both becoming. And I was going to put my whole heart into it. I never got done because it just felt like a lot of work, and my life was a lot busier than it was when I started the Crazy Stick People. But this is the bare bones of it. I have the whole rough draft written out. It's all numbered based on how each of their expressions were going to change and what dialogue boxes were going to pop up and what things were going to be said by people during the animation. So let's just run through it really quick. And this is kind of it. So that thing you just saw, this is what the refined-ish version was going to look like. This is what the bare bones, Cliff Notes version was like. So anyway, we got yellow and blue. I designated with color that he was going to be blue. We have a message here. Wait a minute. Does this seem strange to you? Something does seem off. That's so cute. Oh, I got it! It's a huge time gap since the last episode, not to mention the technological advancements we've suddenly undergone. This is not the pixelated MS Paint world that we originated from. So while he's talking, this was going to be Blue's face, meh. And then he's going to smile at him. And then he's going to be like, no, there's something eerie. Also, notice that he's just a floating head because I was too lazy to draw his body. That's cute. Anyway, is it the voices? So they're supposed to be, recorded voices. Nah, I figured we'd start hearing them eventually. Just cute. Anyway, that? Yeah, that. I can pan them to the right, and then this thing would appear. And that was going to be the end of that. And then, it would be the Crazy Stick People, back for a special abrupt moment. Here's all the characters looking cute. And then you get a message. I stopped color designating, but I know what color these characters are supposed to be. This is yellow, this is blue still. They're still talking. Oh yes, we have a few special messages. Happy birthday, Cammy. I can say it better. Happy birthday, sweetheart. And he was going to blow her a kiss and stuff. And then yellow was going to go, ew. And so then you get to see Jeannie give a birthday message to Camille and it's like, Cam, may your birthday be magical? Who wrote this? And then Alien is holding his script, but he's like, my script is blank, guys. And on the other side it says, Cammy, you're out of this world. And he's just like, hi? And he's just looking all cute and bashful. Clearly my favorite character. And I don't even know why I put green here to designate that this is Alien, but I didn't. If you look back, purple because it's Jeannie. But then if you go even further, it's like, nah, I didn't need to say who these were. But anyway, I think it's red and orange. Hey, Red, where's our script? Sorry, I ran out of time. You really spent all day making overdone cheesy lines for Jeannie and Alien? No. And then yellow is starting to turn red, which I thought was a really nice touch because it's the one way to show that they're siblings is orange has the capacity to become red, but it's just because she's angry, which also implies that red has kind of got a Bruce Banner thing going where he's always angry. Anyway, I spent all day making a Destructobot in the last 5 minutes. Oh, and the last 5 minutes. I don't know. Anyway, something about I spent all day making a Destructobot. I scribbled out the line for some reason. Then he hits the button, and then lasers go pa-choo-choo-choo-choo all around them, and Orange is like shocked. And then this Destructobot appears that I guess that they were in. Or no, she jumps in. That's what it was. She was here, and then she's gonna go bloop and appear there and go shotgun. I spent all day working on a Destructobot, and in the last 5 minutes on those scripts. And the same can probably be said about our design team. Well, joke's on you, your design team never finished the episode. Anyway, then Orange pops into shotgun. So I guess it was supposed to be no line here. He's just supposed to hit the button, shoot them with lasers, and then say, I spent all day working on Destructobot. So the comic timing is like, you spent all day working on blah, 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 blah? No. Pew! I spent all day working on a Destructobot. Anyway, there's that. And then they all are running from the Destructobot, and it says Happy Birthday, Cammy. So as to imply that Red and Orange, even though they're crazy sick people, they still have an urge to take over the world and the entire show. And everybody, yeah. And that's it. That's the end. I think I'll end it on this slide. Yeah, I've kind of lost quite a few episodes, and it really hurt maybe 10 years ago, but I'm happy to have what I have still, and I think by recording this I unlocked a lot of memories, and this way I don't need to work as hard to remember them because I've recorded it. But it meant really a lot to me making these silly episodes and sharing them with my friends and family and having them make up their own characters and things. Yeah, and in a weird way, these characters still are in my life. Like I have a set of cups in my kitchen with like each of the main cast etched on them, and I draw Alien from time to time. If anything, he's my mascot in this world. But thanks for watching, and I assume most of the people watching this are people who watch the old Crazy Stick People and kind of miss it. And I'm sorry that I don't have any of like the really good episodes, but I kind of have a hunch that they're a little similar to what you already saw. I do think that I think they got cleaner and prettier. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one.